Yeah, I know it's a dead meme, but so is the most viewed video on this channel. 1. So after getting beat around during the War of the Sixth Coalition, Napoleon was forced into exile on the small island of Elba, off the coast of Italy, and it only had a total population of around 12,000. Part of the terms of his exile was that he was actually emperor of the island. So he ended up doing everything from overhauling the legal system to starting massive infrastructure projects. Though, after a while, he kinda got bored of running his little fiefdom, and decided that he wanted to conquer most of Europe for a second time. So he and a few marines hopped on a frigate and then landed in southern France, and began to head north. The king, Louis XVIII, sends a regiment to intercept him, so Napoleon gets into shooting range of the soldiers and shouts, "Here I am, kill your emperor, if you wish." To which all the soldiers probably just looked at each other and said fuck it, and then joined Napoleon to march on Paris. The king actually sent more armies to stop Napoleon, but they all just ended up joining Napoleon too, and he became emperor for a second time. Well, at least for the next 100 days. Number 2. This one's from the 200 BCs and is about Han General Han Xin, who is tasked with invading the neighboring Zhao kingdom. Problem is, Han Xin only had about 30,000 troops to the Zhao's 200,000. Things started off rough for Han Xin when his army finishes crossing a mountain pass and was in the process of crossing a tiny bridge on the Tao River. Luckily for Zhao General Chen Yu, he encounters the Han forces when only 10,000 of their soldiers have crossed the river, so he orders a full assault with his 200,000 men. With their backs literally to a river, the Han soldiers fought even harder and were relatively successful at holding off the Zhao. Still though, Chen Yu was confident that he'd win eventually due to his overwhelming numbers.
お前はもう死んでいる。何?
The Han cavalry appeared out of nowhere behind the Zhao army and began to ransack their camp. The Zhao army, thinking that they'd been completely surrounded by a larger Han army, began to panic and flee. Han Xin marched the part of his army from the other side of the bridge and then turned it into a full rout with the Zhao losing up to 150,000 men. After the battle, Han Xin told his officers that he purposely put them in that situation as a part of some Lelouch-Lamperouge level way of winning against what should have been unwinnable odds. 3. So I'm sure many of you have heard of Commodore Perry. You know the
"Open the country. Stop having it be closed"
guy. Well, when he first landed in Japan, the Japanese were only sending low-level bureaucrats to meet him. But he was tired of this and wanted to meet someone of importance, so he gave the Japanese a white flag and said they're gonna need it if they tried to fight. After this, he fired 73 blank shots from his ship's cannons and said he was merely celebrating Independence Day. 4. Basically everything Emperor Heraclius of the Byzantine Empire did during the Byzantine-Sassanian War of 1602 to 1628. Initially, the Sassanians were super successful and were getting within range of Constantinople, the Byzantine capital. Even some of Emperor Heraclius' advisors were urging him to flee to Carthage. Instead, he said fuck that and scrounged every war material that he could find. Coins were made with less metal, monuments including the Hagia Sophia were stripped of medals, and thousands of civilians signed up to serve. This allowed the Byzantines to retake most of Anatolia. Unfortunately, the Avars and the Slavs began an attack from the north, so Heraclius had to go back and try to pay them off since he couldn't fight a three-front war. When he arrived to bargain with them, they tried and failed to take him as a hostage, so they just ended up taking his subsidy and they called everything good. Now Heraclius turned around and offered the Sassanians peace, but they refused. So now he decided to attack the Sassanian heartline itself. In the Battle of Sarus, the Byzantine and Sassanian armies were separated by a river and a bridge. The Byzantine vanguard charged across and the Sassanians feinted retreat, leading to an ambush and destruction of the vanguard. Heraclius noticed that the bridge was left undefended and led a charge under a hail of arrows. This turned the battle and the Byzantines were victorious. The Sasanian king, Kavad, then decided to counterattack by sending his general Sharbaraz to the east to siege Constantinople, with some help from his new Avar and Slav friends. Heraclius heard about this and decided to split off one-third of his army to go support Constantinople.
Another third to defeat
the Sasanian army defending Iranian territory, and the last third led by himself to secure an alliance with the Go-Turks and Khazars against the Sasanians. The Sasanian army defending Iran was defeated, which after hearing about this caused the Avars and the Slavs to dip, leaving General Sharbaraz alone. Heraclius then sends a letter to Sharbaraz, where he says he intercepted a letter from the Sasanian king, Kavad, telling Sharbaraz's second-in-command to kill him for his failures. Pretty much miffed about this, he withdraws to northern Syria. Meanwhile, Heraclius, with his new Go-Turk allies, drives deeper into the Sasanian heartland and destroys the last Sasanian army that tries to stop them. The Sasanians then ended up revolting and killing their king, whose son then sued for peace, restoring the Byzantines all their lost lands. 5. Julius Caesar crossing the Rubicon. So in ancient Rome, provinces outside of Italy were headed by a governor who was also the general of legions in that territory. Now, because of this, they were also unable to enter Italy proper, with death being the punishment for doing so. So when Caesar led a single legion from the province of Cisalpine Gaul over the river Rubicon to Italy, it was a pretty big deal. Especially big dick energy, because it was basically one dude going against the entirety of Rome. Thanks to patrons Trotsky's Daddy, Skylar Weston, Amit Efe Simsek,
Edward NKVD, Joseph Rose Tito, Ben Hughes, and Zy Mandes.